Good afternoon, friends. First of all, I'm immensely grateful to you all for various things. One is that, of course, my book, which came out earlier from Bangalore, within 6 months, its second edition is coming, and nothing can be better for an author like me that your book is coming out within 6 months. And that is all I must say. There is one person who is most instrumental in getting this book out, apart from publisher, of course, and that is Mr. Hari Prasad, B.K. Hari Prasad, who has, in a way, always been after me. He doesn't let me rest. After one book, he says, okay, but next thing is there, what are you doing about that? I said, okay, the book will be ready. And it is how the second edition of the book is coming. So I'm really happy about that. I am thankful to you all, to the publisher, to Mr. Hari Prasad, for a quick edition of that book. Secondly, of course, I feel like thanking you all for something more profound. Book is, of course, personal thing. It is my personal pleasure. Hopefully it will help you also in understanding something more. But there is something else for which I want to deeply thank all of you. And what is that? And that is for stopping the wrath of victory of BJP all over the country. Of course, I have a lot of doubts as to how they won the election in the country, number one. There are so many things. Why Pulwama happened, what they did in Balakot, then so many things, whether EVM machines are also of some help, I really don't know. But all said and done, you people have shown that even the invincible election machine of Modi and Shah can be stopped, and that model has to be emulated all over the country. Now, why I am saying this particularly about one particular party? I am not a electoral political person. I hope you understand what I mean. I am very political. I am very political.
We are political.
But election is not my cup of tea or poison, whatever you say. I have political ideology. I have political ideas. I continuously keep engaging with political issues, but election is not my cup of tea. But still, elections are so much important, I realized, during last few years. Of course, a bit of a personal thing, initially when I came to politics, I thought society must change, society should change towards equality. So what is my central point? Equality. What equality? Equality which is economic, social and political. So that is a long-term goal towards which I feel myself deeply committed. Equality. So of course I came and I thought, of course, this whole issue of communalism, politics in the name of religion, what is it? It will pass off. It's a minor irritant, it's a small boil on the skin, it will pass off. But I was rudely shaken on 6th December 1992. Right on the television screen I am seeing that for 5.5 hours, the car seva, so-called car seva, of course I must say, car seva is one of the beautiful words from Sikh tradition. Please note that. What is car seva? In Sikh tradition, car seva means building something for community. And here, in a very clever and evil manipulation of the word car seva, they did something to demolish a national monument. Shame, shame. And on that, it was not just an attack on Muslim community. Please note that. That's the mistake we do. We think, oh, Muslims are getting attacked. What is our problem? I am not a Muslim. So why should I worry? But please note that when injustice is done against one community, the injustice against other communities will follow definitely. It is not an isolated case. And that's how you may be remembering Pastor Martin Niemöller's poem in Germany. First they came for the Jews. I kept quiet. I am not a Jew, no problem. Then they came for trade unionists. I am not a trade unionist. Then they came for the minorities. I am not a minority. And then when they came for me, there was nobody to stand for me. So please note that BJP's agenda number 1, which looks to be anti-Muslim. Please note, it looks to be anti-Muslim, but it is much more. It is much more. That is just the starting point. Core point, when I say, sometimes you will all be surprised, I will say that Muslims are incidental collateral victims. Please note the word. Incidental collateral victims. What are their primary victims? Who are their primary things which they want to do? And that is Dalit, OBC and women's rights. That is my understanding. And this, of course, during last 5 years, whatever we have seen, I will not go into details of that. One last thing, I will try to come to that. And recently, I think my earlier speakers have spoken very well. I could not understand Tamil, sorry for that, but I could get the sense of something which they were saying, and I was very happy to what they were saying, etc., etc. Zomato incident I could understand fully. But one more thing I want to say, of course, Zomato incident also speaks a lot. It is not a minor thing. It is just the tip of the iceberg. It is a tip of the iceberg which is hiding a deeper danger which is trying to divide our society. Anyway, that is one. Second thing I would like to remind you, there was a later by 49 intellectuals, filmmakers, history people, Shyam Benegal, then Ram Chandra Guha, and all eminent who's who of India's social political life. And in that they pointed out two things. Number one, that was that lynching, a new word, I don't know, of course, since I am in the Tamil speaking audience, because lynching word, when I came, I wrote some articles. My translator, who translates my articles into Hindi, he got surprised. He rang me up. Bole, sir, ye lynching kya hota hai? Because there is no parallel word in Hindi. Peet ke maar dalna. That is a description, but that's not a word. Because this lynching is a primarily phenomenon which picked up primarily from United States of America, whom we all adore. Of course, we should adore, we should go there, we should work, we should earn money, we should learn that. That's not the problem. But their politics is something which is one of the worst politics in the world, controlling different parts of the things. So in that, there was this lynching was primarily a phenomenon used against African Americans, whom I call Dalits of America. That's my understanding. Of course, it may be right or wrong. Right? So that lynching word which was picked up there. So these our great citizens, eminent citizens who are really very concerned about society, they draw our attention to two things. Ki, hello, the incidents of lynching which have taken place during last 10 years, 9 years, 10 years, out of that, 90% of the incidents have taken place after this government has come to power. This government? BJP. Understood? Yeah. Right. 90% after that, and amongst that, majority of them are Muslims, 64% Muslims, and we are forgetting another community. Please note that community is also on the target, and then 12% are Christians, and remaining obviously Dalits, which are not to be counted. Christians are 2.3% in the population, but in lynching, 12% of them are getting killed. Muslims, 14.23% in the population, but in lynching, 62% of them are getting lynched. So this is how you can see the magnitude of injustice prevailing in the society. And when these things happen, our Prime Minister, generally he keeps talking every time on everything. But when these incidents happen, For 2 weeks he keeps quiet. And after that, when people prod up, he will say neutral statement, nahi, aisa nahi hona chahiye. Stop. Chalne do. And then what do his ministers do? His cabinet ministers, what do? They go and honor the accused in the murder. So what is the signal to the society? The signal to the society is that this is going on okay. Prime Minister's cabinet members are approving it indirectly obviously, but that is approval. So that was one. And second was another thing which I think if Periyar would have been alive, I think Periyar I regard one of the greatest icons of India. Had Periyar been alive, what would have been his fate, I don't know. Of course, these fellows are also very clever, and that is related to Jai Shri Ram. You know how Periyar clearly said Lord Ram, how Ambedkar said about Lord Ram. Of course, Lord Ram has been looked at in various ways, but the form Jai Shri Ram is being assuming in the North Indian states is totally horrid. People are being like, so worst thing is not, of course, everything is bad, worse. I have no adjectives to describe. When people are forced to say, Bolo Jai Shri Ram, otherwise you will be killed, you are horrified. But I am equally horrified when in the Lok Sabha, Hari Prasad ji, when in the parliament, the BJP MLAs, BJP MPs heckle, insult the people from minority MPs when they are going to take oath. They are going to take oath and these fellows are heckling Jai Shri Ram. Are hoga? Yes, Jai Shri Ram. You want to revere him? Revere it in your house. In parliament to where our politics is being degenerated because of the particular party which has come to power. So this is what has happened during last 5 years. Again, there are so many things which are so disturbing. What happened in IIT Madras? Students who are supposed to question everything, please note, students are not supposed to say, yes sir, yes madam. They will never learn. When they start questioning, the process of learning begins. Learning doesn't begin with saying yes sir, yes madam. Learning begins with when you start questioning. And for questioning, students are supposed to form organization. So IIT Madras, Periyar Study Circle, it is bad. Hyderabad Central University, there is a study circle, Ambedkar Periyar Study Circle. The people of that, what happens to Rohit Vemula? And in Jawaharlal Nehru University, believe me you friends, I wish I had studied in Jawaharlal Nehru University. That's a wish. Some people wish, no? I wish I was a student of JNU. But no more. But I also wish now nobody should go to JNU. That's another problem. Because JNU was such a brilliant place, and whatever I listen, whatever I hear from friends who are, some of colleagues who are there, like you are on the tea stall, the discussion begins. You go to the classroom, the discussion continues. And students are not scared of the teachers. Students ask the teachers, yes, please answer this question. Teachers struggles, then says, no, I'll tell you tomorrow. I'll have to study. This is what university should be. Nobody is perfect, everybody is learning, and teachers are humble enough. And that's how the standard of JNU has been the highest. When the teacher says, I don't know, your question is very good, I'll study and answer you tomorrow. That means teacher is also developing his faculty. It is not that teacher is being insulted. So I read so many things about anyway. So they did not like our friend Kanhaiya Kumar. Kanhaiya Kumar, who wants freedom within the country. Freedom from what? Freedom from Brahminism, freedom from RSS, freedom from poverty, something the agenda I am sure all of us will identify. So how to break JNU? Make a false CD. And there are helpful media houses There are many helpful media houses. Of course, one of them has become an icon now. That Republic TV icon. He's an icon by himself. Then there are other TVs who showed that fake CD, and many of these young, brilliant boys of the stature of Kanyakumar, they were caught hold of. They were attacked, and this is where I feel reflects the 5 years rule of the past government. Now, when I was chronicling all this was actually, the book is an outcome of chronicling these particular incidents which kept disturbing me all through. And of course I believe, what do I believe about democracy? Democracy is not a static process. Please note that. Democracy is not like a static lake. It's a flowing river. It's a flowing river in which the democratization process goes down, and every citizen learns to participate in the process of decision making. Please note, I am not for a great dictator idol, a great man sitting there and saying, yes, I know everything right. Even Pandit Nehru, please note how Pandit Nehru was dealing with his critics. I have a lot of criticism against Pandit Nehru also, believe me. I respect him to the sky, but I have a lot of criticism. But how to deal with the differences? One very interesting story I'll tell you. There was a great cartoonist called Shankar, after the independence, great cartoonist, and Shankar's Weekly was a great cartoon weekly circulated all over. So this fellow Shankar, by default, in every issue, there used to be 2 or 3 cartoons on Pandit Nehru's policies. He didn't spare Pandit Nehru. Now what will Pandit Nehru do? Had he been Amit Shah or Narendra Modi, probably Shankar, where he would have been, I don't know. But when Nehru saw a cartoon, he got so pleased with the cartoon which is criticizing him. He got pleased with the cartoon. He said, can we contact this cartoonist? He's such a brilliant cartoonist. Shankar, when he got the phone call, I don't know what must have been his reaction. Shankar, when he got the phone call from Prime Minister's office, the phone call was very simple. Prime Minister wants to meet you and have a cup of tea with you. Will you have time to come to Prime Minister's office to have a cup of tea? And what was the request of Pandit Nehru? He says, you are such a brilliant cartoonist. I am sorry I did not know your great work, but from now on, can you do me a favor? Whenever you draw a cartoon on me, please send a copy of that to my office. I'll be very thankful to you. This is what democracy means. And last 5 years, what we have seen is a gradual erosion where freedom of expression, please note, freedom of expression is the core of democracy. All through freedom movement, if you read, and I'll recommend, since some of you are very young and this thing, I'll go on recommending you also some of the things. I hope you remember this nationalism debate which took place. Who's national, who's anti-national? Very simple. Modi language, very simple. Those who agree with me are nationalists. Those who disagree are anti-nationals. Anyway, when this debate took place, JNU professors did a brilliant job. They said, we will do the thing which we know best. And what do the professors know the best? Lecture. So they started lecture daily evening after the regular classes. And that book has come in the form of What the Nation Should Know. Not that. Nation wants to know me. What the nation wants to know. A brilliant book on Indian nationalism. So basically, all this which has happened during the last 5 years has shaken us to the core. And the last point I want to make out about this 5 years rule is centralization of power. Please note, cabinet. Why the cabinet system is there in democracy? Cabinet system is there so that many good brains, good minds, good leaders can contribute in their own way to the decision-making process of the country. And what is the role of the Prime Minister? Prime Minister is first amongst the equals. And what is happening? Now everything is Prime Minister. Of course, sometimes Amit Shah also comes in, but by and large, he is not the Prime Minister. Who will decide this? Who will decide that? Who will decide that? And that's why he can also take the decisions which are totally faulty by any outcome. So one day he feels, नोटबंदी कर देंगे, हो गया, 100 people died. But again, who can criticize? They can create a data. Notebandi was a big success. So this is where the fallacies of the democracy is coming. Now, this is a symptom. This is a symptom, and after last election result, why I feel particularly depressed to a great extent was this, that during these last 5 years, these are the superficial things we saw. What happened at deeper level? At deeper level, there is a book by Anderson and Damle on RSS, and they tell us that during last 5 years, the strength of RSS branches doubled up during those 5 years. And what does RSS do? RSS doesn't do politics in this way. RSS does politics in every other way. And what is that politics? Social manipulation, number one. Community manipulation, number two. Encouraging its offshoot organizations. I hope my friends will know all this VHP, Bajrangal, and Hindu Munnani, I think is there in your Tamil Nadu. Promoting them, number one. Number two, what do? There is something called lately coming up in administration called horizontal entry. Horizontal entry means ISA, of course, you struggle for 2 years, you go to academies, you spend a lot of money, and if you are lucky, you get selected and become an IAS officer. That is one. Now, what is happening? Now, if your Prime Minister decides, I want this person to be in administration, so no need for doing IAS. They can straight away get some of the people, no reservation, nothing. So question is, state is not just political administration. State is also bureaucracy, police, judiciary, and so many other things. So in these particular organizations, there has been a rapid and massive entry of those people who have been indoctrinated by RSS. I hope you understand indoctrination by RSS. For which nation? Indian nation? Hindu nation. What is Hindu nation? I am coming to that shortly. What is Hindu nation, etc. So basically, what is frightening is not that these two people are going to rule the roost for next 5 years. What is more frightening is that this whole agenda of RSS, BJP, is going to go in the full steam, which was not there so far. It was patchy, going on. Now all the doors are open. Opposition is weak. Of course, I see Rajya Sabha debates, I see Lok Sabha debates. Opposition sometimes trying to make some noises, but still lot needs to be done. Mr. Hari Prasad ji is here. Probably they can take some steps to see that a united opposition actually at least makes a good noise. Tells the government, you are doing this, but this is wrong. We will not accept it, and such a brute majority cannot roughshod over people's issue. That is what is the thing. Now overall, then, what is this Modi Shah duo up to? Before I come to this, I will remind you of another Prime Minister. Now all those who are products of RSS, they are primarily of RSS and second. Now, so once he went to the Staten Island in America, he said, I am Prime Minister by incident, but first and foremost, I am the Swayam Sevak of RSS. A Prime Minister in America, he is making that statement, and of course now we know that they need not make this statement. Their agenda is deeply infiltrated into this. So basically, let's try to understand what is the agenda of RSS. And more so, of course, I feel that since a lot of the parts of the country have been taken over by RSS, BJP combined, now Tamil Nadu, Kerala, these two states are left. Can we save these states for democracy? That's my point. And can we, starting from these two states, launch a democratic movement which is powerful and which has capability all over the country? That is my concern while talking in Tamil Nadu with friends like you who are more sympathetic to the cause of democratic values. And when I say democratic values, basically single value which strikes me the most is equality. Other values are of course associated. Equality cannot be there without fraternity. Equality cannot be there without liberty, but equality I pick up as a single point because right from the times of Lord Gautam Buddha, Samta, then Kabir, Samta, Periyar, Ambedkar, Samta, self-respect, etc., etc. That's why I regard this as a central value for my understanding of the society. Now, exactly what is this RSS? How has it dropped in and why I am spending so much time trying to understand RSS? Now, so bit I will go because in India also, if we see, Indian society has been changing. Society is not static. Society is not static like a lake. It is a flowing river. So there was a period of kingdom, and the massive changes which took place during in Indian society was definitely during the colonial period. I am with you. I am with you when Shashi Tharoor writes the book The Dark Era of Empire. Empire looted us, and during the period of British rule, we were plundered left, right, and center. We were given a lot of atrocity. Agreed. But still, there is the other side of it. Other side of it is that there were a lot of changes which were brought in and which stirred the sleeping society, and the society started changing. It was a difficult thing. Today we can talk about this easily, but this was a very difficult thing. So first, I will like to, because some of you are young friends, etc. I am very fond of having a bit of a questioning just to see that I am going in the wrong direction. So I have already answered that. I will repeat that question. Tell me, why did British come here? Hello. No pass fail. Wrong answers are wrong. Business. Very good. They started business? No. What did they go on to do? Rule. And after ruling, what did they do? They plundered our property. Now, in order to plunder our property, take away our property, they brought three major changes, and here I need your help. Now, first change was, for example, of course, Chennai is on the very good port, but there is a place called, for example, Pune near Bombay. So they have to take something from Pune to England. They have to take things to England. So from Pune to England, if they have to take the thing, first from Pune, where will they take the things? Bombay, very good. And how were things being taken to Bombay, from Pune to Bombay before the British came? What was that vehicle? Pune to Bombay, car was not there. Bailgadi, hello, Hindi, bit of a Hindi tolerate. Bullock cart.
That's what this.
Bullock cart, sorry, okay, bullock cart. No, sorry. So bullock cart, they said, oh, bullock cart so slow. When will you start from Pune? When will you reach Bombay? So in place of bullock cart, they brought rail. Hindi bit of Hindi. Bailgadi ki jagah rail gadi. Okay, number one. Number two, British Viceroy sitting in Kolkata. He has to send letters to his officers scattered all over the country. Now think about this question, very simple. Who were carrying letters before the British came? Pigeons. Pigeons, you are right, but there is a problem. Pigeons were generally carrying love letters only. Anyway, they were horse riders also. Again, they said, "Arey, horse rider, pigeon, of course, no use for us." They were writing love letters through separate channel, that I don't know. Let's not go into that. So, horse riders, so in place of that, they brought telephone, telegraph, postal system. First is rail, second is mail. And third is modern education, very good. Third is judicial system, bureaucratic system, administrative system, and one of the major components of all these changes was jail. Right? So I hope you will remember the three things which they brought in: rail, mail, jail. Very good. Now with this come in three new social classes. I am trying to explain the roots of RSS. Roots of the RSS are in the ideology of birth-based inequality. That's why once we understand this, we will not get confused. When will they say, come very humbly, see, हम तो भारत राष्ट्र चाहते हैं, हम सबके लिए चाहते हैं, आप भी आ जाओ. You have to understand what is their central agenda. Okay. So with these changes, three new social classes come up. I call them rising classes. What are the rising classes? Number one, businessmen, industrialists. Tata, Birla, Bajaj, Singhania, Dalmia. They are starting industry. Who will work in the industry? Who will work in the industry? Workers. So this is a second group coming up. And the third group comes up because of education and administrative system, and that is the modern educated classes. These three I call as the rising classes. Now friends, what happens to the old ruling classes? Landlord, kings, Raja, Nawab, Zamindar, Jagirdar, what happens to them? They are not wiped out. They also continue. So these I call as the declining classes. Now from the rising classes come up three representative organizations I am presenting, just to make our picture complete. Three representative organizations, and if you can, what I'll do, I'll give the name of the leaders, you give me the name of their organizations if possible. Number one, Shahid Bhagat Singh. Does anybody remember him? Does anybody remember? Should we remember him? No. I like to remember. I like you to remember. The name of his organization was Hindustan Socialist Republican Association. Number two, this you must be knowing, Bhimrao Babasaheb Ambedkar. What was the name of one of his parties which he formed at the end of his life? Republican Party of India. Very good. And number three, Maulana Abul Kalam Azad, Annie Besant, Sardar Baldev Singh, and Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi. Which party? Hari Prasad ji is a part of that. Very good. Indian National Congress. Now I come to this side. Now declining classes initially had only Raja, Nawab, Zamindar, Jagirdar. Later on, some middle class elements. Other elements also joined in. Some lawyers, etc. has joined in. And here are the three examples I'll give you. The first one is Muhammad Ali Jinnah. What is his name? Muslim. Very good. Number two, Vinayak Damodar Savarkar. Not RSS, Hindu Mahasabha, right? So please, so there is a, now I will try to analyze these two names. Now what are the names here? Hindustan Socialist Republican Association, Republican Party of India, Bharatiya Rashtriya Congress. What is here? Muslim League, Hindu Mahasabha. And in the same stream, inspired by Hindu Mahasabha's RSS, comes in the third organization. What is the name of that? RSS. What is the full form? Rashtriya Swayamsevak Sangh. And Rashtriya Swayamsevak wants which nation? Hindu nation. So please note, Muslim League, Hindu Mahasabha, RSS for Hindu nation. And what is here? Naujawan Bharat Sabha, Republican Party of India, Bharatiya Rashtriya Congress. Just to cut the story short, so that I can spend more time on RSS. Now from this side and this side, values are totally against each other. And for that, I'll take one example from this side, one example from this side. From here, of course, I am taking the example of Bhimrao Babasaheb Ambedkar. Being from Maharashtra, probably the bit more fondness there. I can take the example of Periyar also, but Ambedkar something fits very well into my presentation. What is that? Ambedkar, in order to achieve social justice, equality, he led many agitations, and out of that Kalaram temple was there. You can read, Chaudhar Talab was there, and he went. Then he felt lot of obstacles. Then he went on to burn a book. While burning Manusmriti, Baba Saheb might have said, Manusmriti gives a provisions of slavery. Manusmriti gives a provisions of slavery for Shudras and women. I am opposed to that, so I am burning this book. Same Baba Saheb went on to become the chief architect of India's constitution. And what does the constitution gives us? Liberty, equality, fraternity. And on this side, I take a person called K. Sudarshan. Have you heard the name? No, don't worry. RSS. Now in 2000, he became chief of RSS, and he gave a statement. He said that Indian constitution is based on the Western values. Throw it away and bring a constitution based on Indian holy book. Which book is hinting at? Manusmriti. So what is Baba Sahib saying? Out with Manusmriti, in with Indian constitution. And what is Sudarshan, RSS Parivar is saying? Out with Indian constitution, in with Manusmriti in the modern refined form. Now, recently Rahul Gandhi made a very good statement which many people missed. And he said there are many similarities in RSS and Muslim Brotherhood. Muslim Brotherhood is a fundamentalist organization primarily in Egypt. And they also say that democracy is a Western value. But barring that, values of humanism are universal anyway. So basically RSS, please note, it emerges from the landlord group. It emerges with those values, and of course after forming, now bit of more of our RSS to confirm their ideology. Now once RSS was formed in 1925, number one, it never participated in the anti-British movement. Absolutely fine. Now what is India is a nation in the making? When freedom fighters say India is a nation in the making, they are talking of two things. One, fight against British. Number two, fight against inequality in the society. What is the inequality? Men and women. So there is Savitribai Phule and people like that opening school for the girls. There is Jyotirao Phule opening school for Dalits. So that is the journey towards equality. The journey towards equality doesn't end here. It begins there. So when we say India is a nation in the making, it means on one side we are going towards equality, on the other side we are fighting against British. And what does RSS say? RSS say we don't have to fight against British. Number two, we don't have to fight for equality because our holy books are giving us the greatest value, so stick to that. Now, these are the basic points which I want to point out. And now what type of issues they take up? What type of issues RSS takes up? And before coming to that, I must clarify. RSS does not do direct electoral politics. But it controls all the politics, electoral politics, social politics, economic politics, whatever be the aspect of the politics, it controls everything. How does it do it? It trains Swayam Sevaks, Pracharak. Pracharak, you know what do they? Of course, you must be remembering that I feel very happy. One lecture I gave, very nice, very happy. But RSS is something great about RSS. Their lecturing process, training process is ongoing. 1 week program, 1 month program, 1 year program. They call it officers training camp. Whose officers? Officers of the Hindu Rashtra, officers not of national Indian nation. So that on that way, I must appreciate the method of RSS has been superb. And they brainwash the people, they pick up the children from 5 years to 15 years, they train them and all this. What is the basis of their training? Very simple. We have been a Hindu nation from times immemorial. I get very surprised. Now here these people are saying, we are a nation in the making. Now what is RSS saying? We are a Hindu nation from times immemorial. Now I read a bit of civics like all of you. Now in earlier times, man was hunter, food gatherer, right, wrong? Can we call that as a Hindu nation? I don't know. Then pastoral society, Aryan society, Vedic society, going from one place to the other for the greener grass, no problem, we all hunt for the greener grass. That was also not a nation. Then comes kingdoms, Hindu king, Muslim king. Was that a nation state? Not at all. Let's be very clear. Their whole construction of history is totally a violation of the rationalism which we should be rooted. Okay. So they say we are a Hindu nation from times immemorial. All communities were equal. They don't say caste system was not there. They know caste system was there. But their rider is that caste system was, all the castes were equal. And our Prime Minister, I'm reminded of him, I have to go, he wrote a book called Karam Yogi. I hope you know about Baiswara Wilson, our great social worker, working against this, scamming, manual scamming, all that. So our Prime Minister on the other side says, these people doing scavenging are not just doing it for livelihood. They are doing it for spiritual pleasure to keep the society happy. Somebody should tell him, sir, will you like to have this spiritual pleasure for yourself? But nobody has the courage to ask him anyway. So this is where the whole thing comes. So they train these people, these pracharaks. Now their highest post as university has the highest post of professor. So their highest post is a pracharak. A pracharak then goes into either VHP, BJP, Bajrang Dal, etc., etc. And in addition, either into education or into media or into bureaucracy or into police or into army, infiltration is there. Please note this point. And wherever they go, they keep doing this particular work. Now, what type of issues they take up? Now, this is very important. Here I will like to tell a story also. Generally the type of issues they take are related to identity issues. I divide the issues into two type of issues. One type of issues, bread, butter, shelter, employment, dignity and rights. Issues of one type. Issues of other type, identity. Gau hamari mata hai. They create division, they bring in divisiveness, and more they infiltrate into the administration, more their power to manipulate the communities goes up. Just two examples I'll give you. Temple issue. How temple issues to be tackled. Now after independence, this is a very beautiful story I think we all should remember. Somehow we have forgotten. After independence, the issue came, some people raised the issue that Somnath temple should be renovated by the state.